Welcome back. We are now taking a look at Chapter 7, Building Market Competitive Compensation Systems. We want to make sure that as we are building our compensation programs that we have pay that is relevant to the job market, that is relevant to the industry, that is applicable to different wages within our area, and that we are not underpaying or overpaying our employees. So there are some different ways that we can go about assessing that data, whether we can do external surveys, work with recruitment agencies to find out what is the most appropriate market pay scale for this job. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first. Market competitive pay systems are created based on 4 activities, such as conducting strategic analyses, assessments of competitors' pay practices, finding out who is paying what in like organizations, working with compensation surveys, and integrating the internal job structure with external market pay rates. All 4 of these really help us determine what is an appropriate compensation policy for our organization. First, we want to be able to gather the information that we have within our area. That will be our biggest indicator for what should our market prices be. If we are looking to fill a nursing position, it wouldn't make sense to look for wages that we are paying nurses here in our area and then tie that to wages that they are paying out on the East Coast. There are different wage indexes, different cost of livings, the COLA, cost of living adjustments, and it wouldn't make sense to be paying someone out of the range that might be stressing our own internal budgets, or we wouldn't be able to, on the flip side, hire appropriately skilled individuals if we're not paying at an appropriate rate. So things that we keep in mind. When we are looking at surveys, there are 2 ways that we can go. One is to create our own survey. This can create a little bit more time on the front end because we have to do more research and then prepare our own surveys. But this is a great tool because we have the ability to tailor it to a specific position. Or, this is sometimes done when we first jump into this compensation strategic practice, is we would use a survey from another organization, from a licensing agency, industry associations, consulting firms. We can use a set survey that has already been tried, true, and tested and utilize it that way and modify and tailor as we see fit. So there are a few different ways that we can go about that process. There are 2 essential strategic considerations of compensation surveys when defining the relevant labor market and then defining the benchmark job. So when we take a look at the relevant labor market, that represents the field of individuals that we have at our disposal, and these are qualified individuals for any position that we have within our organization. It wouldn't be appropriate to say that we would go out and survey college students that are looking to enter the field when we are looking to tailor a compensation package for an executive, top-level executive that needs 30 years of experience. What would be a better market to ask? Most likely we would deal with other individuals that have had that 30 years of experience, and we can create a comparable compensation system that way. Benchmark jobs. These are jobs that have 4 characteristics. First is the contents are well known. It's relatively stable over time. It's agreed upon by the employees involved, and that the jobs are being evaluated throughout the organization. When we are setting up a compensation system, it's important that we are talking apples and apples, that we know what is required of that position, so what is required of that applicant, whether skills, knowledge, ability. Are we asking an applicant to come into an organization with a bachelor's degree, master's degree, high school diploma? Do they need any types of certifications, experience in the field? All of these are factors when we're putting together a compensation system. It might be appropriate for us to have different levels within a certain field. Engineer 1, Engineer 2, station engineer, electrical engineer. That really helps define what type of position it is and then what type of compensation package would be appropriate. Given everything that we've learned so far in the class, keep in mind that we can set a base salary that is appropriate, and we can attach on different types of discretionary benefits that might be applicable to a position. If we have frontline staff, it might be great just to do minimum wage across the board, regardless of experience or education. If we're looking to fill more specific positions, then we want to make sure that we have additional incentives, additional qualifications or requirements that might be needed in order to make that applicant applicable to the position that we are hiring them for. So if I am paying someone $75,000 a year, then I want to make sure that I have relevant ties to that career. I'm looking for a bachelor's, additional stipend if you have a master's, at least 5 to 10 years of journeyman level experience, whatever it might be. The rest of the chapter goes on to explain you a little bit more of a mathematical mind to really understand the rest of the chapter, but it gives us some great examples of how we can put together numerical data, numerical programs to help us find out the appropriate market-based compensation system. We have to find out what is applicable for our area, keeping in mind we know that minimum wage is skyrocketing, so we might say, what is minimum wage these days? Well, I believe it's $10 an hour right now, and I just heard the other day that it will be going up to $12, $13, and possibly $20 an hour by 2020. Let me see if I said that right. $15 an hour, by the year 2020. That's a tremendous increase. So as we have minimum wage going up, we have to make sure that all of our other wages are going up as well. We don't have frontline staff making the same amount of money that our highly skilled engineering team with 10 years of experience are making as well. That's keeping in mind our competitive market rates. Read through the chapter. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure to bounce ideas off of one another. You're doing a great job. Another chapter down.